These are older trees, so they are loaded. Dad's got some prop sticks on here. Or my sister, I'm not sure who. That's who was showing us the chickens. That was some good stuff. And just loaded. Loaded. This is a good spot to talk about the 7 layers of life. So people who studied the forests and how they grow in hopes of copying nature, because nature of course grows the best, better than we can, all by itself, and it's just always doing better than we can do. So this is the property that I was raised on. It was my grandmother's and now my parents'. It's where my sister's farm is. And so everything here is up to 80 years old, but it was a really barren lot when we got here. And when my grandparents got here. These are all stones that I laid when I was younger, some of my first projects. The fern bed is coming back. But if you notice the amount of shade here, that's why I wanted to talk about the layers of life. Because naturalists, ecologists, all kinds of people have added into it. Where I heard about it first was an Englishman called Robert Hart. And he had broken it down simply on one of his videos. I think he was 80 years old at the time when I saw the video. This was a while back. But he explained it as 7 layers. So there was the tallest was the light demanding trees, and they're the highest layer. They need the most light. Under them was the more shade tolerant trees, is a good way to say it. And here we have apples and plums. And there's up to 125 fruit trees on this little property. It's about 1.3 acres, and a lot of it is house and parking lot. But so that's the second layer, is shade tolerant trees. And then we move to bushes. These can all be under each other. So you can see here we have citrus tucked in against the building a little bit on this terrace. Under them, of course, you have herbaceous and smaller. That would be the category, but that's size. So this is a good example of that layer, which of course tucks underneath the bushes, and shrubs, which tucks underneath the shade tolerant trees, which tuck underneath the light demanding trees. Below the herbaceous the fourth layer, just to go over it one more time, we have the highest light demanding trees, the shade tolerant trees, the shrubs and bushes, the herbaceous, smaller plants, and now we're down to what you can call ground covers or horizontally growing. So these are things that don't get tall, they go even underneath the herbaceous. Below that is of course the rhizosphere, the root area of the dirt. Bulbs, potatoes, all the things in the roots that you can grow, everything that can live underground without having to be above ground for a part of the year. Those would be the next layer, the underground layer, the rhizosphere. And okay, and then there's vertical growing, which would be vines and stuff. So we'll take you to that. So here's a good example by the old John Deere. You have a vine growing up a tree. And this is a mimosa. So let's see, you had the oak was the tallest, layer 7. Mimosas, fruit trees, smaller shade tolerant trees, layer 6. Shrubs, herbs, or shrubs, bushes, layer 5. The herbaceous, flowers, smaller things, layer 4. Layer 3 is all of the flat growing, horizontally growing ground covers. Layer 2 is everything that grows underground, all roots and such. And layer 1 is the vertically growing things such as vines, grapes, all those sorts of things that grow up and down, climbing on something else. So the idea is that all 7 of those layers would come from the vine growing on the mimosa. You come into the peaches, you can see that this tree is doing just fine. It exists in the shade of other trees. Our upper layers here are dawn redwoods and regular sequoias that were put in during Kennedy's Give Away a Tree era in the 60s. So, look down into the shade that exists. So of course you need way less water. Everything that's duffing from above, all the organic that falls down, can rain down and create your layers of top dressing for you. You can see it can be ordered. Okay, so forest gardening does not always mean planting everything together and letting it go wild. This is heavily maintained. Here we've stripped out all of the dead ferns for the year. You know, it's regularly maintained, just not in a formal way. And we have all the layers work together, and you end up with 1,000 things that are companion planted. Here's another good example. So we have a dawn redwood that my grandmother put in. Coming down, we have plum trees, moving to bushes. You can almost see the layers here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's our ground cover? Hang on, there it is. Across the driveway. 5. There's our ground cover. Let's say 6. What's underground? Anything underground? Well, pretend there's a potato here. He's underground. And that's layer 6. And then 7 vertical. So you have something climbing up. So there's 7 layers. And you can get these to all exist in one spot. You gotta weave them in there, but just want people to understand when you talk about placement and such, you can see that you have under layers here. This is a ground cover that's growing along with just the next highest layer over it. Okay, its roots are protected. It's not getting eroded. When water falls from way up high, it doesn't fall all the way down and slam into it. It slows way down. When it hits here, it doesn't evaporate away. It's like a miniature rainforest. And you can layer stuff together. They actually like it. They'll actually benefit. Like I say, this has been worked on for a long time. This is the other side of the fence. This is not to be mean or anything. This is just what the pasture land looks like around here. So it's oats and clay, and that's what's right under here. And literally like a divider, boom, you can get into layers and green and shade and mimosa. This is a huge tulip tree. I wish it was in bloom. The Meyer lemons, lemon tree, underneath another tree, underneath another tree. Here's example, just layering. So don't be afraid to put in a 3-year-old tree and put a bunch of bulbs under it, because when the tree is 6 years old or 7 years old, they're going to be what's underneath it. You can see these are all little things that were put in singularly. It's the road, we're getting to the end. Here's just your average Timothy grass field around here. There's looking up the driveway. So I got to grow up in there. That's where I played with all my little toys and hung out and rode my bike up and down that dirt driveway. My grandparents lived in this house, and it's pretty cool. That's what I did with my time. Spent my time helping Grandma and hiking up into the mountains to right there. So that was my reprieve. They're cannas. Going crazy this year because we had that red peach on the corner here. We had these. So we'll show you a bunch more shots. This is one of the old apple trees here. My grandparents put all this in. My grandpa stacked the stone wall that's behind all this. Now my parents and sister, everybody have taken it over. And I think they're doing a wonderful job. Look at it. This is a thornless, it's a thornless locust tree. It's a really nice form on them. I recommend them. They're beautiful, really hardy. More scabiosa. This is my little donation. This beautiful bed. Of course, this has been planted this year. That's the disclosure on it. But then you have the older bushes around it and the older established stuff. So the other fun part of layers is that eventually you're putting in your fresh stuff for the year next to something you put in 4 years ago, under something that you put in 20 years ago. It can be a really enjoyable process. And the longer things are in, the less you have to water them, the more they establish, connect together, work together, become quite the paradise. Quite the paradise. Quite the paradise. And it's the same choice as here or any property or the whole planet. Would you like it to look lush and green and beautiful and dump food? Or would you like it to be dry and dead and something that you have to maintain so it doesn't strike back at you? Easy question, I think. Anyhow, the whole top of this property we'll show you sometime. It's a massive vegetable garden. They do a stand out front here and stuff, but we'll let the people who run that operation show that off. And I just wanted to talk about those 7 layers of life and get you to go out and just start sticking stuff together. Never seen one plant kill another plant unless it was encroaching it too much. But other than that, just go crazy. You can always take stuff out if you need to. You can easily learn a lot of stuff. Thanks for joining me. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy your season. taste vision. Mmm. Mmm. So good. Newborn baby chick.
2 hours old.
Hi. We don't eat you, don't worry.
Look in there.
Oh, sorry. Oh. This is a Silky. And her babies. Holy moly. How many?
That's 14. Well, it was 13 and that one's newborn, so it's 14. Probably more since they're hatching out right now.
Oh, they're still popping out?
Yeah, so there were 13 babies this morning. That one's a newborn, so he's 14. And then there was 11
Newborn. He's like, hey guys.
Then the tiger.
Tiger. This is here on the farm too. We're going to show you the veggies soon. In another video. We'll show you the great endeavors of the upper half of the property at Major Family Farms. Look it up.